Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jason Rodriguez with Zpryme. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Gil Quinones. He's the president and CEO of NYPA, the New York Power Authority. Gil, how are you doing this afternoon?
Oh, thank you for having me, Jason. Doing well. Happy New Year to you and your team.
Thank you. So before diving into it, I do have to ask, there's a lot going on in the U.S. We just had the Senate races in Georgia, and there's been some unrest in D.C. What do you have for some young folks or people out there who may not be feeling as hopeful about 2021 right now? What advice do you have for them?
Well, first and foremost, I hope that no one gets hurt. It's sad that this is happening right now, and I hope that the country can come together and rise above this hyper partisanship that we have right now, and address the critical issues that are important, especially young people, like climate change.
Thank you. So right now, COVID-19 is again surging across the U.S. and New York, and here in Texas as well. We're experiencing our biggest wave. We have record hospitalizations here, but particularly we've seen several announcements from NYPA. I think something on sequestering some employees there. So I just wanted to get an update since the last time we spoke of how NYPA is responding to this wave.
So since our experience last spring and summer, we have created a what we call our COVID countermeasure protocol. So we track COVID positivity rates by region in New York State, and if it hits a certain set of metrics, we then act accordingly. In our Mohawk Valley region near Utica area, it triggered the action for us to sequester control center operators. So we did that again. We did sequester them and power plant control room operators back in March, April, May. This time around, it's only focused in the Mohawk Valley region, and we're tracking the other regions and see whether it will trigger and necessitate for us to do that.
Got it. So now looking to 2021, right? We've obviously 2020 was very challenging, but what do you see? Well, two questions. What do you see the biggest challenge for utilities in 2021? And then on the opposite side of that, what are those biggest opportunities?
Yeah, I think 2021 is that we're still dealing with COVID.
Yeah.
In fact, we have paused some of our capital projects, both NYPA's utility operations projects and projects with our customers because of increasing rates of COVID. So we continue to deal with that. That's going to be a challenge. But at the same time, at NYPA, we are also finding selective opportunities where we can really advance and move the dial much faster than what we would normally do because also of the situation with COVID. So there are projects, there are initiatives that we can actually accelerate, and we're taking advantage of that, whether building charging stations, putting solar and storage, building transmission systems here in New York to advance Governor Cuomo's energy agenda.
So in that context, on the remote work front, which has been a big thing since the pandemic hit, do you still see that continue to play a big role, not just in 2021, but also some opportunity post-pandemic? You still see that as opportunity?
Certainly in 2021. We started returning workers back in the fall, but because of the increasing rates of COVID, many of our employees are basically back to uh, the setup that we had last year. So going forward, I do foresee a different structure in what we're calling the new normal. Certain employees will have to work full time at our power plant sites and substations and control centers, but there will be employees who will work part time, and even some, maybe a small amount of employees who can really do their work from home and will only come in when absolutely needed.
So 2020 and even 2021 has been a very busy year despite of the pandemic for NYPA. I've seen several initiatives around environmental justice, fast charging initiatives, evolving Y. There's renewable energy projects that are breaking ground, it seems, across the state, which you guys are a part of. So of the initiatives for 2021, which are you most excited about?
Well, we just issued our strategy and it was approved by our board on December 9th last year. We have five strategic initiatives. First is to preserve the value of our hydropower. We, as you know, produce 25% of all electricity here in New York, 70 to 80% of that from hydro, which is a clean and renewable resource. So we want to preserve that. And we want to do everything that we can, from asset management to creating the right market and regulatory rules to enable the preservation of the value of hydro. We're also excited about working with the environmental justice groups here in New York City to help transition our natural gas power plants in both New York City and Long Island to low or zero carbon emission technologies and resources. And we're excited because we're working side by side, hand in hand with the environmental justice communities who have been disproportionately overburdened in terms of pollution and emissions. We're also working with our customers. You mentioned about solar and storage. A lot of our customers, government buildings, want to build solar and storage, not just for them, but also as community solar for the surrounding neighborhoods. We're doing that at JFK Airport, for example. And we're building fast charging network all across the state to make sure that EV is an easier choice for New Yorkers to buy, and also we resolve the range anxiety. So a lot is going on here in New York. We're building transmission. NYPA has been designated by law to fast track priority transmission projects to integrate renewables into our grid. We're building 3 right now, and then 1 is in the planning stage. So we're really, really excited in doing that. So those are, I would say, the 4 big initiatives of NYPA. And of course, the 5th one is to reimagine our New York State canals, which is an asset that we assumed ownership and operation back in 2017.